In our sequence of interviews, you might have psychological interviews. Not every organization has psychological interviews, but be ready that you might have some. And in some cases, as we mentioned earlier, they bring in an actual psychologist to talk to you and ask you certain questions. So that's a lot of money that they're investing. So if you get to that point where you're talking to a psychologist, that's a good sign, actually. One, they might give you some free advice, I don't know. But really, it's a good sign showing that we're going to spend some money to at least get these last couple candidates. So that's a good sign. Take it for a good sign. Not that they think you're weird or anything's wrong with you, that they really are very, very interested in you. And this really gets down to fit once again. It's all about that personality. It's all about psychology. The psychologist is not going to talk to you about, can you do technical aspects of the job? They wouldn't even know what to ask. They're all about personality type and how you might work within organizations and work within teams. So it's all about fit along that lines. Now, it is very rare that you would actually sit down with a psychologist. Really, where everything's gone is to online, and where you take an online test to, kind of get a psychological profile that'll come out and say, this person's a team player, or this person's selfish, or this person's honest or not. I mean, you'd be surprised at all the things they can come up with. And that's why a lot of times they use them early in the process with these psychological tests. They do a screening interview, they do a psychological test, and once again, they're trying to screen people out. Maybe you bomb the psychological test, and we wouldn't want to hire the person. It seems like he's an axe murderer or something like that. I don't know. So the psychological tests are used once again as a way to winnow people out. But if you're talking to a real psychologist, that's later in the process and a good sign. The key part with that, and particularly even with the online tests, is to be yourself. It's really about who you are. It's how you fit in the organization too. Remember, you're going to eventually go work for these folks. Maybe if you're not the right fit and you're not happy, you should look at other opportunities. Even when things are desperate, maybe you're out of work, understand, it's a real commitment from you to spend many, many years, maybe decades at an organization. So choices on both sides are very important. So be yourself. Now, even with being yourself, though, if you're, let's say, interviewing with an organization that's all about team and you're getting questions on a psychological test, let's say to rate from 1 to 5 how great a team player you are. If you're like a 2, you might bump that up to a 3, or if you're sure I'm a 2 or 3, then you bump that up a little bit to a 3. But don't say I'm a 5 because I love teams when maybe you really don't, because the tests are designed to kind of figure that out, understand if somebody's trying to beat the test. So just be aware of that, and be yourself is really the best advice you can do on that, with understanding of the industry and understanding of the organization as well too. And a lot of times you'll get questions like, do you prefer to work in teams or do you prefer to be an individual contributor? And you choose one or the other. Or you might be asked questions around scales of stuff. On a scale 1 to 5, do you think you're a strong leader? And that tells them something as far as with the testing, and it spits out some results. So not all organizations do psychological testing. Most of them do it online and have you do a quick little online test, and they'll give them results that the interviewing and the hiring managers can then evaluate. And sometimes companies will actually share that with you. And depending where you live in the world, I'm blessed to have students from over 145 different countries. Maybe in your country, they actually require to share those results. I think that's terrific. I think they should. But it doesn't hurt to sometimes ask for it, particularly if you get turned down for a job. It doesn't hurt to ask for those things, I guess. They can always say no. So understand that this is part of the interview process. It's a part of the sequence. It doesn't happen every time, but it's becoming more and more common all the time because there's a lot of great candidates out there, and they want to interview with the best people with the best opportunity to fit within their organization.